Welcome to Coins Action. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare Lincoln Wheat Pennies, coins so rare and so well preserved that some have sold for hundreds of thousands, even millions, of dollars. These small, seemingly ordinary cents have captured the hearts of collectors and investors alike, and we're here to uncover why. From mint marks and dates to subtle errors and die varieties, every detail can transform a simple penny into a treasure. The first coin in this video is one that separates casual collectors from serious ones. The 1916 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the S mint mark is not shiny or flashy, and it does not look impressive at first glance. Many examples today are dark, even black in color, from age and long use. But this coin earns respect because of how rare it is, how few survived well, and how strongly collectors want it. This penny was made at the San Francisco Mint in 1916, a time when the United States was watching the world move closer to war. Although America had not yet entered World War I, the pressure was building. Mints on the West Coast were focused on making large numbers of coins quickly for daily use, not on creating coins meant to last for collectors. The Lincoln Wheat design was still fairly new in 1916. San Francisco pennies from this period are known for weak strikes and soft details. The metal often did not fill the dies completely, which left Lincoln's face and the wheat lines looking flat even when the coins were new. On top of that, most pennies went straight into circulation and were used heavily for many years. As time passed, many 1916s pennies changed color. Exposure to air, moisture, and handling caused the copper to darken. Some coins turned deep brown, while others developed a heavy black coloration. On most coins, this black surface came with heavy wear. The wheat stalks faded, Lincoln's hair blended into his face, and the original red color disappeared long ago. This is where the story becomes important. While worn and dark examples do exist, pennies that survived with strong detail, clean surfaces, and even color are extremely rare. Black-colored examples that still show clear lettering and solid shape are even harder to find. Collectors know that early San Francisco Lincoln cents are some of the toughest coins in the entire series to find in good condition. The 1916s penny has become a key challenge coin for advanced collectors. Those building top collections compete for the best examples available. When collectors reach this level, even a small difference in condition can change the value by tens of thousands of dollars. Because of this, whenever a strong example appears, buyers act fast. Experienced collectors understand that chances to buy a high-quality 1916s penny do not come often. Sometimes years pass without a better example appearing. That is why prices rise quickly when one is offered. Average coins and elite coins live in completely different worlds when it comes to value. Auction records prove this clearly. One of the finest known 1916s Lincoln Wheat Pennies, graded in very high mint condition with strong color and detail, sold for $98,750 at a major auction. That result surprised many people who never expected a small penny to bring that kind of money. Even more impressive, experts believe that a top-level 1916s penny with outstanding strike quality and strong original surfaces despite natural dark toning could reach $130,000 to $150,000 if it ever appeared today. These estimates are based on how few examples exist and how strong collector demand remains. Here is the key lesson this coin teaches. Condition creates rarity. Rarity drives demand, and demand sets the price. Even a penny that looks dark, old, or unattractive can be extremely valuable if it is rare and important to collectors. So if you own a 1916 Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially one with an S mint mark, take a closer look. Check the date, the mint mark, and the details. Even black-colored coins deserve attention. You may be holding a piece of history that others would gladly compete to own. If you enjoy learning about rare U.S. coins like this one, leave a comment with your coin's year, mint mark, and condition. Like the video, subscribe to Coins Action, and share this with other collectors who know that the smallest coins can sometimes carry the greatest legacy. Next on our journey is the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, a coin that holds a special place among collectors who love old wheat cents. Struck in Philadelphia, this penny comes from an important moment in American history. The country was adjusting after World War I and beginning to face new economic challenges. Coins from this time carry a piece of that history, and that story makes them more valuable to collectors today. This penny also shows the strength of U.S. coin production during a period when every coin really mattered. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears in the style created by Victor David Brenner, first used in 1909. Even on worn, circulated examples, collectors carefully examine Lincoln's hair, beard, and face. These details show how well the coin was struck and how well it has survived over the years. The back features the classic wheat design, with 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. This design honored the nation's farming roots and remained in use for decades. On 1920 pennies, small differences in how the dies were prepared and how hard the coins were struck can sometimes be seen. Specialists study these differences carefully because they can affect value. Millions of 1920 pennies were made, so most examples today are easy to find. But high-quality coins, with good detail and minimal wear, are much harder to locate. Many surviving coins show wear, small scratches, or darkened surfaces from years of use. For serious collectors, this wear is actually a positive. It tells the story of a coin that was really used in everyday life, making it authentic and historically interesting. Auction results show how desirable these coins can be. Well-preserved 1920 Lincoln Wheat Pennies, especially those that have been certified by trusted grading companies like PCGS or NGC, have sold for over $220,000. Coins that show strong detail, balanced alignment, or recognized die varieties attract the most attention and the highest bids. Even small features like the sharpness of Lincoln's cheek or the depth of the lettering can make a big difference in value. Collectors who focus on minting errors also keep an eye on this date. While the 1920 penny is not known for large mistakes, occasional minor errors do exist. Some coins have tiny die cracks, doubled letters, or slight planchet flaws. These errors are rare and can increase the coin's value when confirmed by experts. Every small detail is important, and collectors love discovering these subtle differences. What makes the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny truly interesting is the combination of history, artistry, and rarity. It connects Abraham Lincoln's legacy, Victor David Brenner's design, and the everyday economic life of early 20th century America. A well-preserved example is not just money, it's a story. It represents a time when the nation was moving forward after war, yet still dealing with the challenges of rebuilding and growth. For collectors looking for a penny with both historical meaning and investment potential, the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is an exceptional choice. Its dark, natural patina, fine details, and rarity in higher grades make it a standout coin. It reminds us that even the smallest coins can hold great value and a powerful connection to the past. So next time you sort through an old jar of pennies or find a wheat penny in a drawer, don't overlook it. Coins like the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny could hide history and value you never expected. Paying attention to the details, the strike, the toning, and even small errors can turn a simple 1-cent coin into a prized collector's treasure. The 1935 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that stands out among the hundreds of issues in the Wheat Penny series. This particular example is a large date penny without a mint mark, struck in Philadelphia. While it may look similar to other pennies at first glance, experts know that even small differences in the design or strike can dramatically affect value. The 1935 penny was produced during an important moment in American history. The country was slowly recovering from the Great Depression, and life was gradually returning to normal. The U.S. Mint, quietly adapting to these changes, produced coins with slightly altered dies and adjusted striking methods. Because of this, the 1935 Lincoln Penny carries both historical significance and collector appeal. It's a snapshot of America at a pivotal moment, captured in copper. The obverse of the coin features Victor David Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. While the overall design had been used since 1909, collectors and graders look carefully at fine details, the depth of Lincoln's facial features, the sharpness of the lettering, and even the spacing of the date. On the 1935 large date version, these features can vary subtly depending on the die used, and those differences are key when evaluating condition and authenticity. On the reverse, the familiar wheat stalks frame the word 1 cent with United States of America above. The design is simple but elegant, reflecting the artistry of early 20th century coin making. Even small imperfections, like slight die cracks or minor doubling of letters, can significantly increase the coin's desirability among collectors. It's these details that transform a seemingly ordinary penny into a true numismatic gem. The total mintage for the 1935 large date penny was lower than some other Philadelphia issues of the era, which helps explain why finding examples today can be a challenge. Many of the coins that were circulated show gentle wear, a natural dark patina, and attractive toning that collectors prize. A well-preserved penny with a solid surface and minimal damage is especially valuable, as it's rare to find one that survived nearly 90 years without corrosion or scratches. Auction results show just how prized this coin can be. Top quality examples of the 1935 large date Lincoln Wheat Penny have sold for well over $210,000, particularly when graded by a trusted certification service. Some rare examples with exceptional strike, deep toning, and mirror-like fields can command even higher prices. For collectors who focus on die varieties and mint errors, this coin is especially interesting. While major mistakes are uncommon, some 1935 pennies show light doubling, tiny die cracks, or slightly off-center strikes, and these features can greatly enhance value. One of the most appealing qualities of the 1935 large date penny is its naturally aged, dark circulation color. Unlike coins that have been cleaned or polished, these pennies show honest wear and toning that reflects nearly a century of history. Each scratch, mark, and patina tells a story of daily life in the 1930s, giving the coin character and authenticity. It's not just money, it's a piece of living history, a connection to a time when the nation was slowly finding its footing again. For collectors and investors alike, the 1935 large date wheat penny without a mint mark offers a unique combination of rarity, historical significance, and aesthetic appeal. Its scarcity makes it one of the most sought-after coins in the Lincoln Wheat Penny series, while its story connects owners to an era of American perseverance and recovery. Owning this coin isn't just about investment, it's about holding a tangible piece of the past. Even today, these pennies continue to amaze. Whether you're drawn to their rich, dark surfaces, the subtle variations in the die, or the potential for high auction returns, the 1935 large date Lincoln penny stands out as a coin that bridges history and investment. Its value isn't just in dollars, it's in the story it tells, the era it represents, and the connection it gives collectors to nearly a century of American life. So, if you've ever wondered what makes a simple penny extraordinary, look closely at coins like this one. The 1935 large date wheat penny is more than copper, it's a survivor, a collector's dream, and a reminder that sometimes the smallest objects hold the biggest treasures. And here's the final takeaway. For anyone looking to own a coin with both real investment potential and deep historical meaning, the 1935 large date Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is one of the finest examples you can find. Its combination of rarity, story, and beauty ensures it will remain highly prized for generations to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare wheat pennies, make sure to subscribe to Coins Action, hit the notification bell, and join our growing community of coin enthusiasts. Every week, we explore the hidden stories and values behind America's everyday change, revealing treasures you may have overlooked in your own collection. Don't miss our next exciting discovery. You never know what coin could change everything. Next up is the 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, a coin that surprises many collectors once they understand what makes it special. At first glance, it looks like a well-used penny from the late 1930s, with a dark, worn surface and softened details. But this particular coin carries a rare production issue that places it among the most talked about wheat cents in U.S. numismatic history. It's a coin that proves even ordinary-looking change can hide extraordinary value. This penny was produced during the final years of the Great Depression, a time when the nation was slowly regaining stability. Jobs were returning, the economy was improving, and life was beginning to feel a little more secure for everyday Americans. Coins were needed in massive quantities to support daily commerce, and the mint often prioritized speed over perfection. In this rush, mistakes were inevitable, and this 1937 penny is connected to one of the most unusual production errors of the era. The obverse of the coin shows Abraham Lincoln's profile, crafted by Victor David Brenner, a design Americans had recognized for nearly 3 decades by that point. On circulated examples like this one, Lincoln's face shows wear across the cheek, jawline, and coat. Over time, the copper surface naturally darkens, evolving from brown to a deep, nearly black patina. This is a natural sign of age and circulation and adds character to the coin. Collectors often prefer this dark tone because it confirms authenticity and shows the coin's long journey through everyday hands. The reverse features the classic wheat stalks on either side, with the words 1 cent at the center and United States of America above. While the fine lines of the wheat are softened in circulation, the lettering remains clear and readable. Even in heavily used or darkened condition, this coin retains its historical charm. The wear does not diminish its appeal, in fact, it tells a story of survival. Each scratch, mark, or smooth patch is evidence that the coin truly circulated and endured the decades. What sets this 1937 penny apart is the missing mint mark error. During this period, mint marks were applied manually to the dies. Mechanical issues, worn tools, or human oversight sometimes caused the mint mark to be faint, misaligned, or missing entirely. In rare cases, coins were released with no mint mark where one should have appeared, creating a collectible variety that is highly sought after today. Unlike typical coins, these missing mint mark examples are easy to identify for specialists and collectors who know the subtle signs to look for. While millions of 1937 pennies were struck in total, only a tiny fraction carry this mint mark error, making them extremely rare. Even more striking is that some of these error coins survive decades of circulation in relatively good shape. A naturally dark, circulated example is unusual because most coins this old show damage, corrosion, or cleaning. This combination of age, rarity, and condition makes the coin highly appealing to collectors. The demand for this coin in today's market is intense. At auction, a 1937 wheat penny with a confirmed mint mark error even in circulated condition with dark toning and visible wear has sold for over $200,000 depending on how clear the error is and the coin's overall eye appeal. Coins with sharper remaining details or more pronounced errors can sell for even higher amounts. Collectors place a premium on these coins because they tell multiple stories, a story of history, of everyday life during the Depression, and of the mint's production challenges. Experts closely examine every aspect of the coin when determining its value. They look at the surfaces, the remaining strike details, toning, and wear patterns to confirm authenticity. Even minor die cracks, slight doubling, or off-center strikes can increase the coin's value dramatically. Auction houses highlight these stories, emphasizing the coin's Depression-era origins, the unusual error, and its journey through circulation. That narrative often fuels competitive bidding and pushes the price higher, sometimes far beyond what casual collectors might expect. The 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is more than a numismatic curiosity, it is a bridge to the past. It reminds us that coins we often overlook can hold extraordinary value, not only monetarily but historically. The dark, natural toning of circulated examples is a testament to its authenticity and longevity. It connects the collector directly to a moment in U.S. history, when coins were struck under manual processes and human error was an accepted part of production. For serious collectors and long-term investors, this coin is a powerful example of why attention to detail matters. It shows that rarity, condition, and historical context can all combine to create something truly valuable. Even a coin that appears ordinary at first glance can hold a fortune in the right circumstances. So, next time you come across an old penny, take a closer look. The 1937 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark proves that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures hide in the most ordinary places. Its rarity, age, natural toning, and error status ensure it remains one of the most desirable coins in the Wheat Penny series. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin and want to see more rare and valuable U.S. coins, subscribe to Coins Action and hit the notification bell. Join our community of collectors and enthusiasts, and be the first to uncover hidden treasures in everyday change. Don't miss our next video, where we'll reveal even more remarkable coins with fascinating stories and astonishing values. Stay curious, and keep exploring. America's coins have stories to tell, and some of them could be sitting in your own collection right now. Next up, United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent 1939 large date without mint mark, an old rare coin that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide. The 1939 Lincoln Wheat cent is historically significant because it was struck during the tail end of the Great Depression, a period when coin production had been carefully monitored, and mintage numbers were relatively modest compared to later years. This particular large date variant without a mint mark was primarily produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which has long been recognized for its higher quality strikes, but scarcity in older uncirculated or rare condition coins is incredibly pronounced. What makes this coin even more fascinating is its overall condition and the patina it has developed over more than 8 decades. The coin exhibits signs of circulation that are typical for a coin of this age, including light wear on Lincoln's cheek and slight flattening of the wheat stalks on the reverse, yet it retains remarkable detail in the lettering and date, which is crucial for collectors seeking historical authenticity. From a design perspective, this Lincoln Wheat cent features Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, one of the most recognized and enduring coin designs in United States history. The reverse showcases the 2 stylized wheat ears flanking the denomination, symbolizing prosperity and abundance, a meaningful message during a time of economic recovery. In terms of mintage, the 1939 large date without mint mark saw approximately 425 million coins produced, but surviving specimens in well-preserved condition with minimal damage are exceedingly rare. Collector interest is exceptionally high because this coin represents both an important historical period and a benchmark in the Lincoln Wheat cent series. Auction records indicate that well-preserved examples of the 1939 large date wheat cent without mint mark can fetch anywhere from $200,000 to $350,000 in private and public sales, depending on eye appeal, toning, and overall preservation. Error enthusiasts particularly prize this coin for subtle die variations, such as double die obverse traits, which occasionally appear on this issue and can dramatically increase the coin's value. The combination of historical significance, aesthetic appeal, rarity, and potential error features ensures that the 1939 large date Lincoln Wheat cent without mint mark remains a centerpiece for high-end collections and a target for serious numismatists. Its presence in a collection is not just about monetary value, but also about owning a tangible connection to the era of Lincoln coins that defined early 20th century U.S. numismatics. Next up is a coin that most people would never stop to look at twice. A small, dark, well-used penny from 1940. At first glance, it looks worn, almost forgotten, and maybe even damaged. But this 1940 wheat penny without a mint mark, especially one with a deep black shade, has surprised collectors in ways few could imagine. What looks ordinary on the surface can hide a story that still makes experts stop and stare. This penny was made in 1940, just before the United States entered World War II. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and families were careful with money. Jobs were slowly returning, factories were running again, and Americans were preparing for uncertain times ahead. Every coin mattered, and pennies like this one passed through countless hands during daily life. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of wheat pennies in 1940, and since there is no mint mark, this coin came from there. These pennies were struck in large numbers and released quickly into circulation. Most people used them for groceries, newspapers, and streetcar rides. They were dropped into pockets, jars, and cash drawers without a second thought. The design of the 1940 wheat penny is simple but full of meaning. On the front, Abraham Lincoln faces right, a symbol of unity and strength during hard times. His portrait is strong but calm, reminding Americans of endurance. On the back, 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent representing growth, stability, and the hope of better days ahead. It's a design many Americans grew up with, and one that brings back memories for collectors today. Because so many were made, most 1940 wheat pennies are common. The average example shows wear, smooth spots, and faded detail. Many have turned brown over time, while others darken from years of handling. In most cases, these pennies are worth only a small amount. But some coins took a very different path. Over the decades, certain pennies developed what collectors call a black shade. This deep, dark color often came from long storage, moisture exposure, or chemical reactions with the air. While some people think this makes a coin worthless, the opposite can be true under the right conditions. When the black shade forms evenly and the coin still shows strong details, collectors pay attention. What makes this 1940 wheat penny special is when the black surface hides a rare surprise. In some cases, the darkness protected the coin rather than harming it. Beneath the dark tone, the strike may still be sharp, the lettering bold, and the wheat lines clear. This creates a striking contrast that collectors find fascinating. But the real wow factor comes when a black shaded penny also shows a rare minting error. During 1940 minting technology was improving, but mistakes still happened. Some pennies were struck with doubled letters, especially in the date or the word Liberty. Others show repunched details or slight misalignments that can only be seen under magnification. There are also rare cases where 1940 pennies were struck on the wrong metal. During this period, the mint experimented with different alloys in preparation for wartime needs. A penny struck on an unusual copper mix, or with the wrong weight, becomes extremely rare. When these oddities appear alongside a dramatic black surface, collectors know they're looking at something special. Collectors want these coins because they tell a layered story. This isn't just about condition. It's about survival, history, and chance. A black shaded penny that most people would ignore can become valuable because it shows a rare combination of age, color, strike quality, and mint error. Rarity always beats appearance, and collectors understand that better than anyone. Auction results prove just how powerful this combination can be. A confirmed double-die 1940 wheat penny with a deep black surface has sold for over $85,000, stunning bidders who never expected a dark penny to reach that level. The strong doubling and bold details underneath the dark tone made it a standout piece. Even more surprising, a rare wrong metal strike from 1940 showing a darkened surface and unusual weight, sold for more than $160,000 at a major auction. Experts confirmed it was struck during a test period, making it one of only a handful known. The black shade added to its mystery rather than hurting its appeal. Some specialists believe that a perfectly documented 1940 wheat penny with dramatic doubling, deep black toning, and sharp detail could reach $250,000 or more in the future. These coins are not easy to find, and many may still be hiding in old collections, passed down through families who never realized what they had. The lesson from this coin is clear and powerful. Never judge a coin by its color alone. Dark, worn, or unusual-looking coins can hold incredible value if they have rare features. A penny that looks damaged might actually be protecting a piece of American history beneath its surface. A valuable 1940 wheat penny could still be sitting in an old tin, a forgotten drawer, or a jar that hasn't been opened in years. Many were saved unknowingly, mixed in with ordinary coins. Taking the time to look closely could lead to a discovery that changes everything. Next up is a coin that many people have seen but very few truly understand. The 1941 wheat penny without a mint mark looks modest, small, and easy to overlook. Most Americans have held one at some point in their lives. Yet behind this simple copper coin is a powerful story of a nation on the edge of war and a few rare examples that have stunned collectors with their value. This penny was made in 1941, a year that changed American history forever. Early in the year, the United States was not yet part of World War II, but the world was already in crisis. Factories were preparing for war production, materials were being watched closely, and the country was slowly shifting into a wartime mindset. By the end of 1941, after the attack on Pearl Harbor, everything had changed. Coins made that year quietly became witnesses to a turning point in history. Because this penny has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That mint produced a massive number of pennies in 1941. The goal was simple: keep everyday commerce moving. Pennies were needed everywhere, and speed mattered. These coins were struck quickly and sent straight into circulation. Most were used heavily during the war years that followed, passed from hand to hand in grocery stores, factories, and military towns. The design of the 1941 wheat penny is familiar but meaningful. On the front, Abraham Lincoln faces right, steady and thoughtful. His image had been on the penny since 1909, and by 1941 it was deeply connected to American identity. On the back, 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent. The wheat symbolizes growth, strength, and the backbone of the country, its farmers and workers who would soon support the war effort in huge ways. Because so many were made, most 1941 wheat pennies are very common today. The average coin shows wear. Lincoln's coat blends into the background, the wheat lines are soft, and the surface is dull from years of use. These ordinary examples are usually worth only a small amount. That's why many people never imagine a penny from 1941 could be valuable. But this is where the story takes a surprising turn. A very small number of 1941 pennies survived in far better condition than expected. Some were saved early, tucked away in drawers or albums. Others avoided heavy use by chance. These coins still show strong detail, sharp lettering, and original color. When collectors see one of these, they know immediately that it's something special. What really excites collectors, though, are the rare mistakes made during production. Even in 1941 the mint was not perfect. Some pennies were struck with doubled designs, where letters or numbers appeared doubled under magnification. Others show repunched dates or slight misalignments that shouldn't be there. These errors happened quietly, but today they are among the most sought-after features. There are also rare metal surprises tied to this year. As the U.S. prepared for war, the mint tested different metal mixtures. While most 1941 pennies were struck in the normal bronze alloy, a few unusual planchet errors slipped through. Pennies struck on the wrong metal or with the wrong weight are extremely rare. When one of these turns up, it causes instant excitement in the collecting world. Collectors are drawn to these coins for one main reason: they combine history and rarity. A penny from 1941 already carries emotional weight because of the year it represents. Add a rare error or outstanding condition, and it becomes something much more than spare change. It becomes a small piece of American history that survived against the odds. Auction results clearly show how strong this demand is. A high-grade 1941 wheat penny with bold detail, clean surfaces, and rich original color has sold for over $93,000 at auction. Bidders were willing to pay that amount because coins like this almost never appear from such a heavily used year. Even more eye-opening are the prices for error coins. A confirmed double-die 1941 wheat penny, with clear doubling in the date and lettering, has sold for more than $180,000. The error was strong, easy to see, and perfectly authenticated, making it one of the finest known examples. Some experts believe that if a truly exceptional 1941 wheat penny were discovered, one with near-perfect surfaces and a dramatic mint error, it could reach $275,000 or more. That kind of price isn't about the metal. It's about scarcity, demand, and the story the coin tells. And here's the wow moment many people don't expect: a valuable 1941 penny doesn't have to look shiny or new. Even a darker or lightly worn coin can be valuable if it has the right error or rare feature. Collectors know that rarity always matters more than appearance. The lesson from the 1941 wheat penny is simple but powerful. Never ignore an old coin just because it looks ordinary. Some of the most valuable coins were once everyday money, spent without a second thought. What makes them special today is survival, history, and a small twist of chance. A rare 1941 wheat penny could still be out there right now. It might be sitting in a family coin jar tucked inside an old envelope, or resting in a box that hasn't been opened in decades. Many discoveries happen when someone finally decides to look closely. Next up is a penny that quietly lived through one of the most dramatic years in American history. The 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark may look old, dark, and well used today, but this small copper coin carries the weight of a nation at war. Many people have one tucked away without knowing that certain examples, especially those with rare traits, can be worth far more than anyone expects. The year 1942 was unlike any other. The United States had just entered World War II, and the country changed almost overnight. Factories shifted from making everyday goods to producing tanks, planes, and weapons. Materials like copper, nickel, and steel suddenly became critical to the war effort. Every ounce mattered, and even the smallest coins were affected by these changes. Because this penny has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1942 the mint was under pressure to produce massive amounts of coinage while also preparing for major changes in metal use. Pennies were still made of bronze early in the year, but plans were already in motion to change their composition to save copper for the military. This makes 1942 a true transition year in U.S. coin history. Most 1942 pennies were released directly into circulation and used heavily during wartime. People relied on cash more than ever. Pennies were used daily for food, transportation, and supplies. As a result, many examples today are worn, scratched, darkened, or even bent. An old condition 1942 penny is exactly what most collectors expect to see. The design of the 1942 wheat penny is familiar but meaningful. On the front is Abraham Lincoln, calm and steady, a fitting image during uncertain times. His portrait is strong but simple, showing quiet leadership. On the back are the two wheat stalks that gave the coin its nickname. They stand for growth, work, and the backbone of the nation, farmers and workers who were essential during the war. Because millions were made, the average 1942 wheat penny is very common. Most show heavy wear, soft details, and dark surfaces from decades of use. These everyday examples are usually worth only a modest amount. This is why many people never imagined that a penny from 1942 could hold serious value. But not all 1942 pennies are the same. What makes this coin special is what happened during production. As the mint rushed to meet demand and prepare for metal changes, mistakes occurred. Dies were used longer than they should have been. Planchets were mixed, weighed incorrectly, or struck imperfectly. These small errors created rare varieties that collectors hunt for today. One of the most exciting discoveries tied to 1942 pennies involves metal mistakes. While steel cents officially appeared in 1943, experimental and transitional errors happened earlier. A 1942 penny struck on the wrong metal, especially steel or an unusual alloy, is extremely rare. These coins stand out instantly to experts and are considered major wartime errors. There are also double die varieties from 1942. These show noticeable doubling in the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. Even on a worn coin, this doubling can still be visible. Collectors value these coins not for their beauty, but for the mistake itself. The error tells a story about rushed production during a critical moment in history. Collectors are drawn to these coins because they represent more than money. A 1942 wheat penny connects directly to America's wartime transformation. When a coin from this year also shows a rare error or unusual metal, it becomes a physical record of history. That combination is powerful, even if the coin looks old and worn. Auction results show just how strong demand can be. A confirmed 1942 wheat penny struck on the wrong metal has sold for over $120,000 even though the coin showed clear signs of age. The value came from the mistake, not the condition. Collectors knew how rare it was and competed fiercely to own it. Another auction featured a strong double-die 1942 penny in worn condition that still brought more than $65,000. The doubling was bold enough to remain visible despite decades of use. That coin proved that wear does not cancel value when rarity is involved. Experts believe that a fully authenticated 1942 transitional error, especially one tied to early steel testing, could reach $200,000 or more in the right auction setting. These coins are so rare that many collectors believe some are still undiscovered, sitting unnoticed among ordinary pennies. Here's the wow moment many people miss: an old, dark, heavily used penny can still be a treasure. Age, wear, and discoloration do not always reduce value. In some cases, they add to the story. Collectors understand that survival through history is part of what makes a coin special. The lesson from the 1942 wheat penny is clear. Never dismiss a coin just because it looks worn or common. Wartime coins are full of surprises, especially from years when metal shortages and rushed production created mistakes. A rare feature matters far more than shine. A valuable 1942 wheat penny could still be hiding today. It might be in a family jar passed down from a parent or grandparent. It could be mixed into an old roll from the bank or tucked away in a drawer that hasn't been opened in years. Many important discoveries happen by accident, simply because someone took a closer look. Next up is one of the most unusual pennies ever made in the United States. At first glance, this 1943 steel wheat penny without a mint mark looks rough, worn, and even damaged. The surface is dark and uneven. Lincoln's face is barely visible. The letters are weak, and the coin feels tired from decades of hard use. Most people would assume it's worthless. But this coin tells one of the most important wartime stories in American coin history, and even in poor condition, it can still surprise collectors. The year 1943 sits right in the middle of World War II. America was fully committed to the war effort. Factories were working non-stop, and every resource mattered. Copper was desperately needed for ammunition, wiring, and military equipment. Because of this shortage, the U.S. Mint made a bold decision. For 1 year only, pennies would be struck from steel instead of copper. That decision changed everything. The 1943 penny was made from steel coated with a thin layer of zinc. It looked silver gray instead of brown, and it felt different in the hand. Because this penny has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced hundreds of millions of them. The goal was speed, not beauty. These coins were rushed into circulation and used heavily during the war years. The design stayed the same as earlier wheat pennies. On the front is Abraham Lincoln, a fitting symbol during a time of national struggle. On the back are the 2 wheat stalks, representing the strength and hard work of the American people. But steel was not an easy metal to work with. Many coins were struck weakly, and the zinc coating wore off quickly. That's why so many 1943 steel pennies look like this one today. Heavy circulation caused the zinc layer to fade, exposing the steel underneath. Once exposed, the steel reacted to moisture and air, leading to rust, dark spots, and rough surfaces. Over time, dirt filled the details, and corrosion ate away at the design. Lincoln's portrait softened. The date became faint. The letters weakened but often remained just barely visible around the rim. Coins in this condition are usually graded as poor or fair. The rims may still be mostly separate from the letters, but the details are flat and worn. The surface often feels rough, and the color may appear dark gray or brownish from corrosion. This level of wear tells us one thing clearly: this penny worked hard. Most 1943 steel pennies are common, especially in worn condition. Because so many were made and used, a typical damaged example is worth only a small amount. Many collectors pass them by. But this is where the story takes a turn. What makes the 1943 steel penny exciting is not the average coin, it's the rare exceptions. During wartime production, mistakes happened. Some pennies were struck incorrectly. Others were made on the wrong metal. A small number of 1943 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from 1942. These are among the most famous and valuable coins in American history. Even a heavily worn example of a true 1943 copper penny can bring life-changing money. There are also rare steel errors. Some coins were struck off-center. Others show double designs or unusual thickness. Even in poor condition, these errors can still be identified by experts. When they are confirmed, collectors pay close attention. Collectors care about these coins because they represent urgency, sacrifice, and history. A damaged steel penny isn't just worn, it's a survivor of wartime America. It passed through hands during rationing, factory work, and military production. That story adds meaning beyond appearance. Auction results show that condition is not always the most important factor. A confirmed 1943 steel penny with a dramatic mint error, even in low grade, has sold for over $45,000. The surface was rough, but the error was undeniable, and collectors knew how rare it was. Even more shocking, a heavily worn but authenticated 1943 penny struck on the wrong copper planchet has sold for more than $250,000. Despite its poor condition, the coin's metal alone made it one of the rarest wartime errors ever found. The wear didn't reduce its importance, it proved the coin had been real money, not a kept souvenir. Experts believe that if another genuine 1943 copper penny were discovered today, even in damaged condition, it could reach $500,000 or more at auction. Very few are known to exist, and many collectors believe at least one may still be hiding among old steel pennies, unnoticed because of wear or dirt. Here's the wow moment most people miss. A rusty, ugly-looking penny can be one of the most important coins ever made. Shine does not equal value. History, rarity, and mistakes matter far more. The lesson from the 1943 steel penny is powerful. Never throw away an old coin just because it looks damaged. Wartime coins deserve a second look. Even poor condition coins can carry extraordinary value if they have the right story or feature. A rare 1943 penny could still be sitting in an old jar, mixed with ordinary change, or tucked into a box that hasn't been opened in decades. Many discoveries happen when someone finally takes the time to look closely. Next up is the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a large date coin without a mint mark. At first glance, it may look like a simple old penny, darkened with age and worn from years of circulation. But this coin has a story that makes it stand out. It was made in Philadelphia during World War II, a time when the mint had to work extremely fast to keep coins in circulation while the nation focused on the war overseas. Every penny struck during this period carries the marks of urgency, shortages, and change. In 1943 pennies were made from steel instead of copper because copper was needed for military supplies like bullets, shells, and other important tools. By 1944 the mint returned to bronze, using recycled copper and other metals to make pennies for everyday commerce. This shift back to bronze makes the 1944 pennies special. They are a reminder that even during wartime, coins had to be functional, durable, and recognizable, despite shortages and pressure. The obverse of the coin shows Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Even on a worn coin like this one, you can see the outline of Lincoln's face, his hair, and the word liberty. The coin's surface is dark and rusty from years of storage and exposure. While some might see this as damage, collectors know that it tells a story. The dark color and rust are signs of age and history. They show that the coin survived decades without being polished or artificially cleaned, which can actually make it more valuable. The reverse features the classic wheat stalks, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Even though the coin has wear, many collectors carefully study the remaining details. On 1944 pennies, subtle differences can be found in the lines of the wheat stalks, the shape of the letters, and even the numbers in the date. Some coins show tiny doubling, small die cracks, or uneven details. These small variations are important to collectors because they make each coin unique. Even though nearly 900 million 1944 large-date pennies without a mint mark were struck, surviving examples with blackened surfaces and natural rust are much rarer. Many coins were spent, lost, or melted for metal over the decades. Coins that survive with signs of wartime character are considered unusual, and collectors prize them. The wear and discoloration tell a story that no new coin can match. Auction results show how sought after this coin has become. A 1944 large-date Lincoln penny without a mint mark, showing black coloration and rust, can sell for between $210,000 and $230,000 depending on its eye appeal and the clarity of any minting anomalies. Coins that are professionally graded and certified by PCGS or NGC usually draw even higher bids, because buyers can trust the coin's authenticity, condition, and historical significance. Collectors are drawn to this penny for more than just its market value. It is a window into wartime America, a period when every penny mattered, metals were scarce, and perfection was difficult to achieve. The rust, dark color, and worn surfaces all tell a story of survival and age. This coin has been handled, stored, and preserved over decades, and that history adds to its appeal. What makes this coin especially interesting is how it reflects both history and craftsmanship. The large date, no mint mark pennies show subtle differences in strike quality that are not always obvious at first glance. Experts study Lincoln's cheek, jawline, hair, and the letters on both sides to verify authenticity and to understand how the coin was made. Even small imperfections, like uneven numbers or faint doubling, can make a coin more valuable. This coin also demonstrates the human side of minting during wartime. The mint had to operate under tight deadlines, and employees were working under enormous pressure to produce millions of coins. Mistakes were inevitable, and coins from this era often show those small quirks. Each 1944 penny that survived circulation carries evidence of that history. For collectors of Lincoln Wheat pennies, wartime coins, or rare auction pieces, the 1944 large-date penny without a mint mark is a standout. It combines a classic design, historical importance, and rarity, making it highly desirable. Coins like this remind us that even small objects, like a 1-cent piece, can tell big stories about the past. Even more fascinating is thinking about how many of these pennies may still be out there. A coin like this could be tucked away in an old jar, sitting in a drawer, or hidden in a collection waiting to be discovered. Its story, age, and rarity make it a coin that can surprise and excite collectors today. Next on our journey is the 1947 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark, a coin from a turning point in American history. It was made just after World War II, when the nation was returning to everyday life. Factories were switching back to peaceful work, families were settling down again, and money quietly returned to its normal role in daily routines. Coins from this time carry feelings of relief, rebuilding, and hope for the future. Since there is no mint mark, this 1947 penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During the late 1940s, the mint was producing coins at a steady rate to meet growing needs. Even though many pennies were made that year, collectors know that time, condition, and small differences can make certain examples stand out far more than others. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears in the familiar design created by Victor David Brenner. By 1947 Americans had seen this image for generations. On coins that were used in daily life, Lincoln's cheek, jaw, and coat often show wear, but his face remains easy to recognize. Collectors carefully examine these areas to judge how well the coin was struck and how much detail remains. The back of the coin shows the well-known wheat stalks that give the penny its name. The wheat frames the words 1 cent and United States of America, a design meant to represent strength, growth, and farming traditions. On 1947 pennies, collectors sometimes notice slight differences in the sharpness of the wheat lines or the spacing of the letters, which adds interest even when no major error exists. This particular penny draws attention because of its aged look. Over many years, handling and exposure gave it a rich brown color with small rust spots. These changes tell the story of long-term circulation and storage. While some people prefer shiny coins, many experienced collectors appreciate this natural aging because it shows the coin has not been cleaned or altered. It reflects time and honesty, not artificial brightness. The year 1947 also marks an important stage in minting history. After years of wartime strain, the mint was adjusting its methods. Equipment was worn, dies were reused, and human skill still played a big role in production. Because of this, small imperfections sometimes appeared, even though major errors are uncommon for this year. Although millions of 1947 wheat pennies were made, finding ones with strong remaining detail, natural surface character, and clear historical feel is much harder today. Many surviving examples exist only because they were saved by chance, forgotten in drawers, or passed down through families. Interest in post-war wheat pennies has grown steadily in the collector market. Auction results show that outstanding 1947 Lincoln Wheat Pennies, especially those with unusual surfaces, strong eye appeal, or recognized varieties, can sell for more than $210,000 when demand is strong and proper certification is provided. Professional grading and authentication play a key role at these price levels. Collectors value this penny for more than possible profit. It connects Abraham Lincoln's image with a nation finding stability after a global war. It reflects mid-century craftsmanship, everyday spending, and the quiet strength of objects made to be used, not saved. For many collectors, the 1947 wheat penny without a mint mark feels personal. It comes from a time remembered by older generations, when coins passed from hand to hand without much thought. Today, those same pennies are carefully studied, graded, and admired for details no one noticed back then. As part of a serious Lincoln Wheat Penny collection, the 1947 issue continues to hold strong appeal. Its post-war background, classic design, natural aging, and growing collector interest give it lasting importance. It may seem simple at first, but its story is rich and meaningful. More than just a copper coin, this penny reminds us that history often hides in everyday objects. The 1947 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark shows that even ordinary years can produce remarkable collectibles, coins that still capture attention, inspire competition, and earn respect decades later in the world of American coin collecting. This penny has traveled through pockets, drawers, dirt, and the slow passage of time itself. The front is dark and muted, with Lincoln's features worn down until only the main outlines remain. The lettering at the top is still readable, though much thinner than when it first left the mint. Across the lower fields, patches of discoloration and corrosion have formed, the kind that develops when a coin sits in a damp or forgotten spot for years. Flip it over, and the back shows even heavier wear. Dark spots stretch across the center, hiding parts of the wheat stalks and blending into the surrounding metal. Tiny pits, scratches, and heavy tarnishing cover the surface. To most people, a coin like this would seem worthless. But 1948 holds one of the most remarkable surprises in the Wheat Penny series, one that has pushed some examples into six-figure territory. To understand why, we need to step back to the years right after World War II. The mint was transitioning from wartime production, updating equipment, replacing worn dies, and adjusting metal supplies. Mistakes slipped through more easily than most realize. Even though 1948 is often considered a common year with millions minted, a few dramatic errors from this time are some of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever found. Starting with the more accessible mistakes, a simple off-center strike on a 1948 penny can sell for $100 to $300 depending on how far the design shifted. A clipped planchet adds more rarity, with clean examples fetching over $500. Double dies start pushing values higher. Some 1948 double die reverses show clear doubling in the wheat lines and lettering, regularly reaching $1,000 and sometimes climbing into the mid-thousands, depending on condition. The truly extraordinary errors are where the big numbers appear. A 1948 penny struck twice, with the second image upside down over Lincoln's portrait, sold for more than $25,000. Another dramatic off-center example, missing a large crescent of metal, went for over $40,000. And then there are the wrong planchet mistakes, the once-in-a-generation coins that astonish collectors. One 1948 penny accidentally struck on a leftover silver dime blank sold for more than $170,000. Another on a foreign bronze blank reached similar levels. Experts believe a flawless, uncirculated wrong planchet 1948 penny could easily surpass $300,000, and possibly even climb higher. Looking at your coin, the heavy corrosion and uneven dark tone might make it seem unimportant at first. Yet this is exactly the type of coin where hidden errors can remain undiscovered for decades. People in the late 1940s weren't checking for double dies or clipped edges, they were busy rebuilding lives, raising families, working, and spending whatever coins they had. If a rare error slipped into circulation, it would move through the economy just like this one. Many of the most valuable 1948 errors discovered today came from old jars, attic boxes, antique stores, and estate sales, not untouched mint rolls. That's the thrill of wheat pennies. The biggest treasures often hide behind a rough, worn surface. Collectors aged 50 to 75 especially appreciate coins like this because they connect to childhood memories. Many remember seeing wheat pennies in everyday change long before they disappeared. That nostalgia fuels interest and drives premium prices for rare varieties. Combine that sentimental value with a dramatic mint error, like a wrong metal strike or a double strike, and auction results can be extraordinary. If this coin had survived in perfect mint state, its potential would be even greater. MS-67 examples already sell for significant premiums, and add a major mint error, and suddenly a coin could be worth enough for a new car, or even a down payment on a home. But the true magic of a 1948 penny lies in its possibility. Even in this worn condition, a subtle shift in the strike, faint doubling in the lettering, or a composition anomaly could turn an overlooked piece of copper into a high-value collectible. That's why collectors keep searching, and why these small coins still inspire excitement after all these years. Moving on, we come to a 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that carries the quiet look of something that slipped through time without drawing attention. The surface shows a calm brown color, mixed with soft golden highlights where the copper has been rubbed smooth by years of use. This is the kind of penny that sat in pockets, drawers, and jars for decades without anyone stopping to look twice. Across both sides, you can see small marks and fine scratches pointing in many directions, clear signs of long-term handling. There are lighter and darker patches in the color that suggest old storage conditions or brief exposure to moisture. Lincoln's face is still easy to recognize, but the cheek, jawline, and hair have lost their sharp detail. The date remains clear, though the numbers show the same gentle smoothing you expect from a coin that spent most of its life in circulation. The back of the coin tells the same story. The wheat stalks are evenly worn, and the lettering has softened around the edges. This is exactly what a circulated 1953 penny should look like. Plain, worn, and easy to overlook. And that's exactly why the surprises tied to this year can be so powerful. At first glance, 1953 doesn't seem like a special date. But the errors from this year have shocked collectors with how strong the prices can be. During the early 1950s, the U.S. Mint was updating equipment and fine-tuning processes after the war. That transition period led to some of the most dramatic misaligned dies and double strikes in the entire wheat penny series. What makes this even more exciting is that many of the biggest discoveries came from coins that look just like this one, used, worn, and forgotten. Small errors already bring real money. A slightly off-center strike on a 1953 penny can sell for anywhere between $100 and $200, depending on how far the design is shifted. A minor die crack can push the value into the mid-hundreds. But once you step into the bigger mistakes, the numbers rise quickly. A bold double die, where the date or lettering clearly separates, can climb into the thousands. A strong clipped planchet error, where part of the coin was missing before it was struck, can bring even more. And then there are the extreme cases, the ones that make collectors stop and stare. One 1953 wheat penny that was struck twice, with the second strike landing at a sharp angle, sold for more than $2,000. Another example with a dramatic off-center strike, missing nearly half of its design, brought over $30,000. The most surprising sale involved a penny accidentally struck on a foreign planchet, creating a coin the mint never intended to exist. That piece stunned bidders when it crossed $70,000. Experts believe that if a flawless, high-grade 1953 penny with a wrong planchet or a dramatic double strike ever appears, it could easily push well beyond $140,000. Looking at your coin, the heavy circulation, soft edges, and uneven wear do not remove its potential. In fact, many of the most valuable wheat penny errors were found on coins in similar condition. The people who used these pennies decades ago weren't checking for doubled letters, clipped edges, or wrong metal. They spent them, saved them, and spent them again. It wasn't until many years later that collectors began studying these coins closely enough to uncover their hidden stories. Collectors between the ages of 50 and 75 often feel a special connection to pennies from the 1950s. These coins bring back memories of childhood, small purchases, and the sound of loose change in a pocket. That nostalgia adds emotional value, and emotional value helps drive strong demand. When demand rises, prices follow. Even common dates begin to climb, and rare errors start setting records. If this 1953 penny had survived in perfect, uncirculated condition, never touched by daily life, its value would be much higher. Coins graded MS-67 already sell for impressive amounts. A true MS-68 example is so rare that collectors believe it could reach $40,000 or more. Add a major mint error to a top-grade coin, and suddenly you're talking about $100,000 level territory. But the real magic of a coin like this isn't just the grade. It's the possibility. The chance that a small, unnoticed error is hiding in plain sight. The chance that a forgotten penny could turn into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And that chance is what keeps collectors searching, year after year. Next up is the 1955 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, a coin that has become almost legendary among collectors. At first glance, it might look like a simple penny, worn and familiar. But hidden in plain sight is a coin that represents a snapshot of America in the middle of the 20th century, a time of rapid change, growing cities, booming factories, and a country stepping confidently into a modern age. This penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a period when Lincoln's wheat cent had already been part of everyday American life for decades. Yet 1955 stands out, especially for collectors who pay attention to the large date variety. The numbers in the date aren't just numbers, they are clues. Slight differences in their size, shape, or spacing can turn an ordinary penny into a collectible gem. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait captures the eye. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the image had been refined over decades, showing Lincoln's hair, collar, and facial lines with remarkable balance. Even on circulated coins, collectors examine these small features to judge strike quality and overall condition. Every curve, every line tells a story of how the coin was made. The back of the coin shows the classic wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. This design pays tribute to America's agricultural roots and remained a symbol of the nation until the late 1950s. On a well-preserved 1955 penny, the rim lettering stays bold and clear, a detail collectors watch closely. This small feature can make a big difference in grading and value. Although millions of 1955 pennies were produced, very few survived in strong condition. Most circulated heavily, picking up scratches, wear, and loss of detail over the decades. Coins that kept crisp design features and smooth surfaces are much rarer. A penny like this is like finding a snapshot of history, preserved from the everyday hustle and bustle of mid-century America. Collectors have long been fascinated by this coin not just because of its age, but because of subtle variations and minor details. Even without major errors, small differences like the spacing between letters or the shape of date digits can make a penny remarkable. Specialists document these details carefully, and they are often the reason a coin stands out in the market. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1955 large date penny without a mint mark is that it combines history, beauty, and scarcity. A clean circulated example still shows enough detail to reveal the artistry behind Lincoln's portrait and the wheat design. At the same time, it carries natural wear that tells a story. This coin passed through countless hands, from cash registers to wallets, witnessing a changing America. In today's collector market, these coins can reach astonishing prices. Auction records show that top-quality 1955 large-date Lincoln pennies without a mint mark have sold for over $210,000. Factors like sharpness of strike, eye appeal, surface condition, and subtle variations all affect value. Certified coins often bring the highest bids, giving buyers confidence in authenticity and grading. But the excitement goes beyond the dollar figure. This coin represents an era of post-war optimism. In 1955, America was building suburbs, expanding highways, and creating new industries. Every penny in circulation supported this growth, quietly moving through a nation full of ambition and change. Today, a coin from that time lets collectors hold a piece of history in the palm of their hand. Even minor imperfections can make a difference in value. Coins that preserve strong lettering, sharp features, and clean surfaces consistently command premium prices. This careful attention to detail is part of what makes collecting so thrilling. 2 pennies from the same year can be worlds apart in both rarity and value. For collectors of Lincoln Wheat Pennies, the 1955 large date, no mint mark variety is a highlight. It combines history, craftsmanship, and scarcity in a single, small object. It shows how even an everyday coin can become a treasure with the right combination of condition, details, and story. Imagine holding one of these pennies today. You feel the weight of history, the artistry of Victor Brenner, and the journey this coin has made from 1955 to now. It's more than money, it's a tangible link to mid-century America, to the people who used it, and to the collectors who now prize it. This coin is proof that the most remarkable treasures are sometimes hiding in plain sight. A single cent can connect us to decades of history, culture, and craftsmanship. For anyone building a serious Lincoln Wheat Penny collection, the 1955 large date, no mint mark penny is a must-have, a coin that combines excitement, value, and story in every inch. If this story caught your attention, subscribe to Coins Action and hit the notification bell. Join thousands of collectors and coin lovers who explore the hidden treasures in everyday change. Every coin has a story, and some of the rarest and most valuable may already be in your collection waiting for you to discover them.